Welcome to Embrace Relationships Television. I'm Kevin Harley, here with Elder Dane T. Cunningham, and we're going to talk about relationships. Elder, what is the difference, what does God say the difference is between men and women?
Well, you know, God says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Not only are we made in the image of God, but sexual differentiation begins at birth. It begins at birth with different chromosomes for both male and female. Now, female have the X chromosome and males have the Y chromosome. But what's interesting in how God created men and women distinctly different is that females have two female chromosomes, the XX chromosome, and men have a male and female chromosome. They have the XY chromosome. So you can see that even in our genetics, men and women are distinctly different, not just in their mentality and in our cultural and in our social phenomenon, but in the way that God has distinctly created us. Now you would ask, why is it that a man has both the male and female chromosome and the female only has the female chromosome? And the answer to that question is that God took the woman out of the man in order to make the woman. So a man has a unique ability to understand and to empathize with a woman simply because of the way that God has created him. The big difference we have to understand is that God has created us distinctly different, not just in terms of our social interaction and in terms of our cultural interaction, but in terms of our biology, we are distinctly different. Now, when we understand that we are distinctly different, it helps us to better get along with one another and to better understand one another. When we can empathize with the differences of the members of the opposite sex, then basically we will have more success in our relationships.
Okay, Elder, we heard you talk about the physiological differences between men and women. Now, tell us some more differences between men and women.
We have to remember that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Do you realize that there's research that indicates that women have approximately 20,000 words per day? And men have approximately 7,000 words per day. Now, this does not necessarily mean that women always have more to say than men do, but this is just a general overall view of communication between men and women. Now, when a man understands that most women have more to say than he does, what that requires him to do if he wants to have a successful relationship in terms of his communication, he has to learn the difference between hearing and listening. See, now when he hears a woman, he's just simply perceiving whatever it is that she's saying. But when he's listening to a woman, he's giving careful thought to what she's saying. In other words, because she has more to say than he does, he has to give careful thought and he has to listen if he wants to have a successful relationship with her. Another fact that we don't understand is that our brains are bilateral. What that means is that the left brain has the basic fundamental function of being logical and analytical. But the right brain has the function of being creative and intuitive and more emotional. Now, the research indicates that women have a tendency to lean more towards their right brain and men have a tendency to lean more towards their left brain. Now, I understand that many people will disagree with the research, but I don't think that we'll disagree that women have a tendency to be more emotional and men have a tendency to be more logical and rational. This does not mean that men can't be emotional, and it does not mean that women can't be logical. What it is saying is that in our relationships, we have to understand that we are distinctly different, not just with the X chromosome and with the Y chromosome, and not just with the left brain and with the right brain, and not just with the communication, but there's social influences, there's cultural influences. And when we understand that God has created us distinctly different, then we can understand why he has created us to complement one another. When we understand and appreciate our differences, then our relationships can glorify God and they can be the best relationships that they can be.
Elder, you always give great advice. Thank you for that. And we want to thank you for watching Embrace Relationships Television. I'm Kevin Harley with Elder Dane T. Cunningham. We'll see you next time.